Oh, gotta get started on Venezuela, boys. It is becoming an absolute war zone. They just set fire to the Supreme Court building, up in smoke. But before I get into that, I gotta give a shout out to all of you guys. My channel wouldn't be nearly as successful, it can't be, without subscribers. And that's you guys, both new, fairly new, and older subscribers, been around a long time. My channel wouldn't be what it is without you guys, so I really appreciate you. And I want to say, I do know, I put those ads in the videos. And sometimes I can put one or two in the middle, one at the end, etc. I have no control over what ad is displayed or how long it is. And I'm here to tell you, as much as I love you guys, whether you hit skip or not, you're entitled to do what you want. But if you're not clicking skip, which is, you're watching the whole ad or so, let's say, and it's like a minute or 2 minutes, listen, I appreciate your support, but hit the freaking skip button if you need to, if you feel the need to. I can't control if it's a minute, 2 minutes. Someone told me the other day there was like a 20-minute long or something ad that came up for them. He's like, I love you, but I couldn't watch that one. I'm like, well, no, don't sweat. It's not me. It's not me or mine. Skip the hell out of it. But I got to give a shout out, man. I appreciate you guys a lot. I really do. So let's get on with this Venezuela stuff, man. I've been covering this since a few years ago, and you can see it a little bit worse, a little bit worse, a little bit worse, a lot of bit worse, really worse, really bad. This is an article from Silver Doctors, and I'm going to read the first part, and then I'm going to just kind of switch over to where you can see the screens that I'm seeing, the photos. Because this is war. I mean, this is a civil war. It's absolutely sure now. With the shooting and now gun control dominating American news, few notice that the protesters who are being oppressed by an intrusive and socialist government set fire to the Supreme Court building in Venezuela. Word of the fire was buried by the news of the American socialist who shot at Republicans because the country isn't socialist enough. Bernie Sanders supporter dude. As if Americans could bury their heads in the sand further, gun control has retaken the leading role as a top debate on social media too. Of course, most have continued to ignore Venezuela, which is the home to people who are suffering under the tyranny of the very same system those on the left seek to force on us here. Since Venezuelans have been disarmed, for their own good, of course, the protesters who simply want a little bit of freedom back have had to use fire and violent protest to get the attention of the oppressive government, and they did just that when setting the Supreme Court building on fire. The Supreme Court of Venezuela recently handed down a ruling in favor of the government of Nicolas Maduro, which rejected a measure designed to prevent the dictator from rewriting the nation's constitution. The current plan is for a group of people, largely selected by Maduro, to elect a constituent assembly to draft a new version of the document. The court's ruling keeps that plan in place for the time being. Protesters of the socialist government and its tyrannical edicts were appalled at the ruling. These are people who are literally dying on the streets because of socialism, and they wanted their voices heard. They spoke with fire on Monday. This is the 12th week of violent protests in the country as the resistance demands the resignation of President Nicolas Maduro and calls for elections. Violence broke out in protests at the Supreme Court over a bid to change the Constitution, and Venezuela's chief prosecutor said on Monday her family had been threatened and followed by intelligence agents since she split with the government. She was on their side, no longer on their side. Now our agents are going to follow. The men in black of Venezuela. We'll just call them the conquistadors. The conquistadors are following you. And on second thought, I'm not going to show the images here. Not that they're like awful, but I don't want any copyright nonsense for any reason, and there's a lot of Twitter and Daily Mail and all that stuff. I'm just, whatever. The link is in the description if you want to see some of the pictures. Protesters of the Oh, wait a minute. I already did that one. Protesters set fire to Venezuela's Supreme Court as anti-government clashes rage on after 2 months. The opposition in Venezuela was set on fire, the building of the ministry and the Supreme Court. And they've got pictures of that thing burning. Protesters set fire to hashtag Venezuela Supreme Court as anti-gov clashes rage on after 2 months. Protesters set fire to Venezuela Supreme Court as anti-government clashes. Supreme Court on fire. Protesters set the Venezuelan building ablaze. Sounds a lot like America Democrat protesters. That's an interesting tweet. And then there's this other picture of someone with a shotgun on top of the building. And someone posts a picture of it. A couple of guys. And this guy looks like he has a body armor, a vest on. So he could be, I would assume working for the government. I doubt a citizen over there anyways is going to have that. And he says, snipers brought by regime killing people in Venezuela from Supreme Court rooftop. But it's a shotgun. You want to consider that sniping? I guess you still could. But nonetheless, that's what the image shows, just a guy holding a shotgun pointing it. It's been more than 60 days since Venezuela's Supreme Court moved to dissolve the country, or the country's National Assembly. U.S. blacklists Maduro loyalist on hashtag Venezuela Supreme Court. Fanned by anger at triple-digit inflation, along with shortages of food and medicine, protests have grown smaller but more violent over the past 2 months, with at least 67 killed and thousands injured. With the protests getting more violent and lack of food and basic essentials getting even harder to come by, Venezuelans are in a dire situation. This could be a perfect example to the leftists in America who continually vote to raise taxes and regulate everything while attempting to disarm the public. But lessons are only learned one way, and that's to experience it. Prepare now, because the country is continuing to take a hard left turn. Talking about our country, not Venezuela. It's already past that left turn. It's doing continuous left turns down a toilet bowl. Again, people want some semblance of what country they used to live in back. They want some form of, this used to be Venezuela. Hell, give us what we had 2 years ago, which was terrible. Remember the article? Anyone remember the article I read a while back? It could have been a year ago. I don't recall. I'm going to say probably at least a year ago. And it was about the Venezuelan president, Maduro, advising his people, grow gardens, grow vegetable gardens in your property and on your back porches and in pots. Help, there's a little slight food issue. Help out by doing this. That's kind of like telling riffraff / welfare. I don't mean the ones who need welfare. I'm talking the welfare mama mentality. Welfare mama and riffraff, if you will, telling them, go get a better paying job, or just go get a job. Or instead of one of you working, both of you need to work. Better your life a little bit, make a little more money. And them saying, why would I want to do that? I'm getting all this free handout from the government. You morons are paying $1,600 a month rent over there. We're paying $200-300. And my wife's pregnant, and we're going to have another one coming. So tax write-off, child care credit, tax credit, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a riffraff by his toe. If he hollers, let him go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Right? Hey, riffraff, start growing your own food. Stop asking you're getting welfare. Help the government out. Help me out, your neighbor who's paying for this. Put a little garden in your back porch. No, instead, what does he put? How about a mattress? Or in this case, technically a box spring. I saw the comment. It looks like a box spring to me. When I say mattress, just, you know what I mean. In the backyard. And just out of curiosity, stand by because I want to go take a peek. If you'll just hang on 1 second. I want to know, is it still there? Because it's pouring down rain right now. It's been a few days. I'm just curious. Stand by. seriously look surprised this time. I mean it this time. It's not there. Of course, it got dumped on the other day. You know, when little Riff Raff the guinea pig was under it. It's pretty much destroyed now. And maybe that's why it's not there. Oh, we can't use this anymore. Let's go, you know, trash it. Or maybe it's dumped in their garage more than likely. But, yeah, again, tell the peasants, right? And in Venezuela, we're talk about peasants, right? Lower income. A lot of really poor people there. It is what it is. Do you think a bunch of them starved their own gardens and took Maduro? Not that he's a, you know, oh yeah, let's listen to this freaking dictator. But do you think anyone did that and said, you know, let me go ahead and try to help myself a little bit? No. We want a government that's going to help take care of us. We're not going to do anything to better ourselves. A lot of that, by the way, is because they can't. They had no money to begin with. They were scraping by just to begin with. Now things are really bad. What are they going to possibly do? I can't go buy seeds. I can't, you know, go out and protest and let's, you know. Remember I read you the other day. We're just, the one lady. We're gonna keep praying. We're going to pray and wait for the new president to come in whenever that happens. That's what we pray for. So you're going to sit still and pray with chaos all around you happening from the government in Venezuela, and you're going to stand there and pray and do nothing. No, I hate to say it, but prayer doesn't work that way. You can pray, but nothing's going to happen because you prayed for this dictator to get out. History tells us the only way that dictator gets out is by you getting off your lazy butt and say, you know what? I think I do like the Constitution. I think I do like freedom. And this man's not going to take any more from me, any more of my freedom. Instead, nope, he's taking freedom. He's taking more freedom and then more freedom. And I'm going to sit back here hoping and praying that he stops, it gets better, and a new guy takes over. Well, if you see the pictures on this site, this link, that's the only way the leader's going to be taken out, removed, and a new one comes in place. That's the only way. And then they will get better. So I wish those people a lot of luck. These pictures are, I mean, this is like Civil War. This is like Civil War. And you can see the guy with the vest on. He's a younger guy. He's got to be in his, I don't know, 30 years old maybe. And he's got his vest on. The guy said snipers brought by regime, killing people from the Supreme Court rooftop. He doesn't have a problem shooting at his own people at all. Not at all. So, believe me, when people start getting shot around you and you realize the government did this and we're not even armed, it will escalate out of control because people see someone get killed like that, flip out. And that's probably what's going to happen here. He's got a friend next to him who's covering his mouth because I guess of the smoke. But anyways, I don't see Maduro in power by 2018, to be honest with you, but we're going to have to wait and see. Take care.